The process of selling your property can be complicated enough, but when you add in a whole other puzzle piece in the form of existing tenants, it can be even more of a challenge. But don't worry, I am going to give you the best steps and how to plan ahead to avoid a frustrating sale for you, your tenants, and the buyer. Hey, I'm Kim Devlin with Kim Devlin Team and RE/MAX Leading Edge. I share information about the St. Augustine and surrounding areas, the housing market, and what it's like living here. If I can be of any help at all, let me know, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Whatever your reason for selling your investment property, there are some important legal requirements to keep in mind and some common courtesy to consider. The keys to success for the listing and selling of a tenant-occupied property is communicate and cooperate. First, remember that a tenant has certain basic rights protected by Florida law, which the landlord must observe. A tenant is entitled to the right of private, peaceful possession of the dwelling. Once rented, the dwelling is the tenant's to lawfully use. The landlord may only enter the dwelling in order to inspect the premises or to make necessary or agreed upon repairs, but only if he or she first gives the tenant reasonable notice and comes at a convenient time. So you see, it's really important to have the tenant on board because the selling process inherently involves a lot of intrusion. Hopefully you have a great relationship with the tenants and they are more than happy to work with you to present the home in its best condition and make showing appointments as easy as possible. Discussing a plan early and sticking to the agreed protocols will make them feel comfortable and give you the reassurance that the property can be considered by the biggest net of buyers. Your real estate agent can help facilitate the discussion with your tenants and work with them to ensure that they get sufficient notice for appointments and are not inconvenienced through the listing and contract stages. This might even involve setting up designated days and times to allow showings, such as every weekday only from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., and deciding who will be the main point of contact for confirming showing requests. Being mindful of the tenants' work schedules, kids, pets, and health concerns are not only courteous, but will also avoid any drama. Once you have discussed your plans to sell with the tenants, you should also take the legal formality of sending them notice of your intention to sell the property. This can be in the form of a letter that includes your realtor's information and the agreed plans for showing and what you may require from them, like keeping the grass cut and bathrooms clean, and you should send it via certified mail to ensure proper delivery. A second factor to consider is the tenant's right to remain in the property until the original termination date of the lease. It should be disclosed in your listing information and marketing that the property is tenant occupied, including the terms of the lease and the end date. If the potential buyer is also seeking an income producing property, they may be very happy to assume the lease terms and even extend once they become landlord. But even if they plan to use the home as their primary residence, they need to honor the tenancy agreement. One potential workaround for this is to offer the tenants the option to break the lease early without penalty, and maybe even offer to assist them by giving a discount or refund on outstanding rent or contribute to the moving costs. Such an arrangement might benefit you if the tenants are willing to move out early because a vacant home is always easier to show. But again, they do have the legal right to live in the property through the original timeline of the lease. The third step is to consider when selling your tenant-occupied property is the price and disclosures to potential buyers. When a home is tenant-occupied, the home may not be in the best condition. There is typically a lot of wear and tear, and it's not maintained like an owner-occupied home. Add a lease term that has to be honored by a period of time by the new owner, and you are looking at a list price lower than other homes in the neighborhood. The list price is generally less than what a vacant home will sell for because buyers can view a tenant as a burden. This will, of course, depend on how much time is left on the current lease. If it's more than 60 days, you will need to make your home more appealing to buyers and price it accordingly, and your realtor can help you with that. Now, if the buyer is an investor, it's a different story. But in my experience, they are rarely paying top dollar for a rental property, and the rental rate on a current lease in place are generally too low. And again, you will also need to disclose to any potential buyers the terms of the existing lease agreement, and they have to be willing and able to take over as landlord. Your real estate agent will best be able to help you with this, so be sure to provide them with a copy of your lease agreement, and they will determine whether the lease requires the tenant to vacate upon the sale of the property or whether a buyer would be purchasing the property subject to the lease terms. If an investor is interested in purchasing the property, they may be even more keen if a tenant is already in place, so long as they are assured of their good standing and can come to a favorable agreement if they decide to extend the existing lease. However, some investors prefer to vet the potential tenants themselves and may be wanting to increase rental rates, so it could go either way. Your realtor can work with them to help figure out the best options after closing. So finally, the most important step is to hire a real estate agent. That can help you with all this and find the right buyer for your home. My colleague has been dealing with a tenant-occupied listing for a while now, and it's been a challenging one. The main reason is the seller did not have a plan in place when he started. Unfortunately, this seller started the process on their own without the guidance of a realtor. And because of that, they did not set the right precedents for communications and cooperation with their tenant. The tenant was feeling intruded upon and stressed about the possibility of moving or having a new and unknown landlord. And so they have been less cooperative with providing access for showings and so limited the potential exposure of the home to buyers. Once my colleague got involved, she was able to sit down with the seller and the tenant to work out a schedule and plan for communication that were favorable for everyone. Now the tenant is feeling secure and there are more showing opportunities and a few offers. Your realtor will also make sure that you protect yourself from any legal complications and can help facilitate the transfer of the lease terms to the new owner. They will establish a good relationship with the tenants as well as you, the direct client, and will be able to facilitate a smooth process from contract to close. Having a reliable professional who understands the process from the perspective of the seller, the buyer, and the tenant ensures that everyone feels comfortable and is well informed of their responsibilities and rights in every situation. Selling your house in Florida with tenants can be challenging. There are extra legal requirements, opinions, and schedules to work around. But if you plan ahead, communicate clearly, and bring on the right professional to help, the process can go smoothly and without much disturbance to anyone's lives. Now, if you're looking to buy an investment property, St. Augustine is a very popular one for vacation rentals. So you will want to watch this video right here for the various vacation rental restrictions depending on the area you purchase. As always, I'm here to help, so reach out anytime. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.